Trinidad and Tobago under fire for deporting Venezuelans seeking asylum. And in sport, CONCACAF cancels the remainder of the Women's Under-17 Championship. I'm Nicole Best, and this is the Caribbean in 10 for Monday, April 23rd. I'll be back with the details after the break.
Washington handled some of these questions.
It was, again, another complicated moment because on one hand, it was important that a women's march actually show the connections between issues that face women as a group and issues around which women have specific kind of ways of experiencing it, but it's not traditionally seen as a women's issue.
Tell me, what is exactly that you do?
Revenue manager. Well, what we do is, our main job is to maximize profit, room revenue profit. So what we do is we analyze a lot of statistics. We look at what's going on in the area at local hotels. Like, for example, we have Homewood Suites. It's one of our competitors. We see what kind of rate that they're offering on the websites. All over the web, there's tons of different rates that are available.
Trinidad and Tobago is being accused of violating international law by deporting several Venezuelan nationals who were seeking asylum in the Twin Island Republic. At least 82 Venezuelan nationals, 53 men and 29 women, were sent back to their homeland over the weekend, and the Ministry of National Security said they were voluntarily repatriated. But attorneys representing some of the Venezuelans say some of them did not volunteer to go, and they say repatriating them violated international law. Nisha John Mohammed of TV6 News spoke to some of those attorneys yesterday, including Shalini Sankar, who works with the Living Water Community, a religious-based organization that works with the United Nations Refugee Agency.
Some of the persons I am representing have been repatriated back to Venezuela yesterday, and these persons are asylum seekers. I can also confirm that family members of these individuals have indicated that they were left at the Caracas airport with no money and no means of transportation back to their homes.
With their lives threatened by the Maduro-led government, Ms. Sanka said her clients had no choice but to flee the country.
But most of them are seeking asylum on the basis that their life is threatened and they have a serious fear of persecution of being threatened when in Venezuela.
Human rights lawyer Rajiv Basad, who has also been getting calls from families of those repatriated yesterday, said he is in the process of investigating the matter. And if there's any truth to it, the country may have violated international law. Although there is no refugee legislation in the country, both Basad and Sanka said there is an understanding between the Ministry of National Security, the Attorney General, the Living Water Community, and the United Nations concerning asylum seekers.
As an attorney, I'm aware that there are standard governing practices which govern the rights of asylum seekers and the relationship between the government and asylum seekers until legislation has been put in place.
So much so that the United Nations has expressed concern over the deportation of asylum seekers. In a release, its resident coordinator, Richard Blewett, said they are worried about the welfare of those persons and are in contact with the appropriate authorities in Port-of-Spain to ensure that refugees in need of protection will get it without fail.
In its statement yesterday, the UNHCR also said it could not verify whether a voluntary repatriation process took place as claimed by the Ministry of National Security. But Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi told the Trinidad newspaper that he could say with comfort that all those taken back to Venezuela had volunteered to return home. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS, has pledged to find a solution to the high taxes associated with intra-regional air travel. Director General Dr. Didicus Jules says it has presented a proposal on the issue to sub-regional governments for consideration. He says the OECS is hoping, even on an experimental basis, to be able to help make a difference. Jules was speaking at the launch of the integrated travel project, Carib Sky, which is expected to reduce the cost of travel within the English, Dutch and French-speaking Caribbean. China is pledging support for Cuba's new president. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunying says the Asian nation is ready and willing to work with Miguel Diaz-Canel to expand and deepen bilateral cooperation and, I quote, score glorious achievements in China-Cuba friendship in a new era, end of quote. She said the two countries enjoy profound friendship and a solid basis for cooperation, and China sincerely hopes that a responsible socialist Cuba can continue to make its voice heard on the world stage. China-Cuba relations have been intensifying since President Xi Jinping assumed office in 2013. He has signed dozens of bilateral agreements on a multitude of areas, including finance, agriculture, industry, telecommunications, oil and energy with the Caribbean nation. Stay with us. Your Midday Sport is next. The Confederation of North, Central America and Caribbean Association Football, CONCACAF, has cancelled the remainder of the Women's Under-17 Championship because of violence in the Nicaraguan capital. In a statement issued from Miami yesterday, CONCACAF said that to guarantee the safety of the delegations and all participants and fans, the cancellation would apply to all matches and events. The Bermuda team, which took part in the tournament, was said to be safe and in no danger. They were due to take on the U.S. on Sunday before closing out the group stage against Costa Rica on Tuesday. Group A was made up of host Nicaragua, Mexico, Puerto Rico and Haiti. The top two teams from the two groups will advance to the semi-finals, after which the CONCACAF champions and second and third placed teams will qualify for the Under-17 World Cup, which is scheduled for Uruguay in November and December. More than 10 people have died and 100 injured in several days of protests against changes to the Nicaraguan pension scheme. The move, approved by the Nicaraguan government last Wednesday, increased pension contributions for workers and employers while reducing benefits. Reigning world 100-meter champion American Justin Gatlin opened his season with a victory at the Grenada Invitational on Saturday, making up for his absence because of injury last year. The 63-year-old was timed at 10.05 seconds in the marquee event at the Karani James Stadium, with fellow Americans Isaiah Young finishing second in 10.11 seconds and Mike Rogers stopping the clock in 11.16 seconds to take third spot. Gatlin's female counterpart Tori Bowie, the reigning women's world champion, was also in winning form as she raced to victory in the women's event, crossing the line in 22.75 seconds. The United States also took honors in the men's 200 meters when former world and Olympic 400-meter champion LaShawn Merritt claimed victory in a time of 20.57 seconds. Hometown favorite Bralon Tappelin, who finished fifth at the Commonwealth Games in Australia earlier this month, snatched the men's 400 meters in a time of 45.29 seconds, with Leguilin Santon of the Dominican Republic taking second spot in 45.66 seconds. And that's Caribbean in 10. Join us at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline, but until then, do have yourselves a good afternoon.